In a quiet village nestled along the lush banks of the Crocodile River in West Africa, life flowed to the rhythm of the river. Elders recounted tales of spirits dwelling beneath the waters, crocodiles that once conversed with humans, and a fate that never turned a blind eye. Among the many households lining the dusty paths of the village lived Baba Kofi,
à 11 pointeurs.
His first wife had passed away years ago, leaving behind their daughter,
Amara.
She blossomed into a striking young woman, her skin rich as polished mahogany.
Eyes like twin star. And a voice as soft as morning mist.
Amara was cherished by all. Her kindness and generosity were known throughout the village. She sang to the elders and helped children cross the river. However, when Baba Kofi remarried, the dynamics shifted. His new wife, Mama Jelani, brought her daughter,
Zina. Dina possessed a sharp,
fiery beauty and craved attention. She resented the adoration Amara received, especially when a wealthy trader's son showed interest solely in Amara. Envy festered within Zina,
twisting into something darker.
One humid afternoon, Zina invited Amara to fetch water from the Crocodile River. As they stood on the mossy edge, with birds screeching above and the sun glinting on the water's surface, Zina feigned excitement.
Look, Amara.
There is something shiny down there. Maybe it is a coin. Amara leaned forward. In that instant, Zina shoved her. With a splash, Amara vanished into the swirling river. Zina gasped, pretending horror. Deep down, she believed the crocodiles had claimed Amara. Who could survive the cursed river? But fate was watching. Amara's unconscious body drifted downward, untouched by the lurking crocodiles. As her breath waned, a presence stirred.
Not a beast.
Not a man. Something in between. Ngolo, the river sage, a mystic believed to have vanished decades ago, emerged. With skin like bark and eyes like fireflies, he pulled Amara into a hidden cave beneath the river.
She bears the mark, Ngolo murmure. The spirit of light. Chosen by the waters.
Thus began Amara's second life beneath the surface, where time bent and spirits whispered. Back in the village, a funeral was held.
Zina wept the loudest.
Baba Kofi mourned deeply. But the river did not forget. Time flowed, and whispers of a mysterious woman aiding travelers and healing the sick spread through neighboring villages. Tales of her beauty and wisdom captivated all. One day, during a village festival, a stranger arrived. Her presence commanded attention, graceful,
radiant, and familiar.
It was Amara. Gasps echoed as she approached Baba Kofi. "Father," she said softly. Tears streamed down his face as he embraced her. Zina, pale and trembling,
stepped back. Amara's gaze met hers.
"I remember," she whispered.
The village got red, demanding the truth. Zina confessed,
her voice shaking. "I was jealous. I pushed her." Silence fell.
Baba Kofi, heartbroken,
turned away. The elders decreed that Zina would leave the village, to wander and reflect on her actions. Amara chose to stay, using her newfound wisdom to guide and heal. The village thrived under her care.
Children sat by the river,
listening to her tales. "Jealousy," she would say, "is a poison. But kindness and truth cleanse the soul." The Crocodile River flowed gently, its waters shimmering under the sun, carrying stories of redemption and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Moral: envy can lead to one's downfall, but compassion and truth pave the path to redemption.
The awakening beneath the surface.
When Amara opened her eyes,
the world above was gone. There was no sunlight.
No voices. Only silence. And yet, she breathed. She lay on a smooth bed of jade-colored stones deep beneath the Crocodile River. The water around her shimmered not with sunlight, but with a soft, ethereal glow. Above her, shadows of crocodiles glided silently, yet none dared approach.
From the far end of the underwater Kafka Maloum, like a lullaby carried by the current.
A figure emerged tall, cloaked in moss and vines, his beard woven with shells. He was Ngolo, the forgotten sage of the river. Long ago, he was once a man of great wisdom, betrayed by his own brother and cast into the river to die. But the spirits of the deep had found him worthy, granting him life between realms. Now he lived as a bridge between the human world and the ancient waters. "You should not be here, child," Ngolo said, his voice like thunder softened by sorrow. "I did not choose to be here," Amara replied, her voice trembling.
N'Golo knelt besider.
Placing a hand on her chest.
"And yet, the river shows you."
A blue glow emerged from Amara's heart. Ngolo stepped back, eyes wide. "It is true," he murmured.
The prophecy of the river.
Long ago, before the river was tamed by men, a prophecy had been carved into the rocks hidden beneath the deepest pool.
When envie cast innocence into the jaws of the river.
She who breathes water shall rise with the wisdom of the old and the justice of the spirits. Amara was that child. Not just a survivor but a chosen one. Training among spirits. Under Ngolo's guidance, Amara trained in the ways of the river spirits. She learned to move with the current, to hear the whispers of ancestors in flowing water. Each night, she dined with crocodiles that bowed their heads in her presence. She discovered how pain turned to strength, and how wounds of the heart could heal through forgiveness. But it was not easy. Her body ached from the transformation. Her mind fought the sorrow of betrayal. And sometimes, she cried herself to sleep on her bed of stone, remembering the life stolen from her. Ngolo would sit quietly beside her. "Even in betrayal," he once said, "there is a hidden blessing. The river does not just wash away, it reveals." And in time, it did. The tests of the river.
To return to the world above.
Amara had to pass 3 sacred tests set by the river spirits.
The test of memory.
She was taken back in vision to the moment Xena pushed her. She had to relive it without anger.
To watch without seeking revenge.
When the scene ended, Amara wept but did not curse.
The test of compassion.
She was shown a future where she ruled the village, rich and powerful. In it, Xena returned, old and broken. Would Amara punish her? In the vision, she embraced her. The spirits were pleased.
The test of voice.
Her final task was to sing not just any song, but one that could calm the river's rage. She sang of forgiveness, of home, of pain turned to peace. The waters around her stilled. The crocodiles swam in quiet reverence. She had passed.
The rise from the river.
When Amara emerged from the river, she was no longer just a girl. Her skin glowed faintly in the moonlight. Her hair flowed like water. And her eyes, once soft, now held the depth of ages. A fisherman spotted her as she stepped onto the banks, his jaw dropping as he stumbled backward. "It is the river's daughter," he gasped. "She has returned."
By the time the sun rose,
the whole village buzzed with the news. Baba Kofi dropped his morning calabash in disbelief. Xena froze, her heart pounding in fear. But Amara came not with wrath. She came with grace. "I am Amara," she said to the gathering crowd.
The one you buried. The one the river spared.
Cliffhanger ending of Part 2. A new storm rises. That night, as the village slept and Amara watched the stars reflect in the river, Ngolo appeared in spirit form beside her. "You must be ready," he said solemnly.
Your return stir all powers.
Not all spirits rejoice. From the jungle behind them, a pair of glowing red eyes blinked open in the shadows, something ancient and angry. The river had given Amara life. But there were others who wanted it back. To be continued in Part 3.
The return of the river rescuers.
Will Amara's newfound gifts be enough to protect her people, or will an ancient force rise to claim her once more?
A shadow from the deep past.
The villagers celebrated Amara's return as if the river itself had blessed them. Children brought her fruits. Elders touched her feet. Even Baba Kofi, once too proud, bowed before her. But as drums echoed in the night, no one noticed the black mist slithering across the riverbank.
No one saw the sleeping birds shudder.
Or the crocodiles retreat. All.
Except Amara.
That night.
She dreamed of fire underwater.
Of bones sinking beneath a moonless current. Of a name whispered by wind through the reeds.
Mbali. The forbidden legend of Mbali. Before Amara, before N'Golo.
There was Mbali, a priestess banished for using forbidden magic to control the waters. She had once tried to rule the villages. Not with wisdom, but with fear.
When the river rejected her.
She cursed it with her final breath.
If the river dar bless another woman with power, he shall rise again.
And drown her in despair. Ngolo had sealed her spirit centuries ago beneath the black whirlpool, a place no one dared fish, swim, or speak of. But now, with Amara's return, the seal had weakened.
The first sign, withering water.
One morning, villagers awoke to find the crops near the river dry and brittle.
The water, ensuite,
turned bitter. Fish floated belly up.
The elders gathered in panic,
seeking answers in bones and smoke. But the only one who understood the signs was Amara. She is waking, she told Ngolo in the sacred grove. Mbali is coming. Ngolo's spirit flickered. His face grim. You must seal her again, he said, or lose everything.
The summoning of the river warrior.
To defeat Mbali, Amara needed more than strength. She needed the eye of the river, a sacred stone buried beneath the oldest fig tree near the cursed whirlpool. But to retrieve it, she had to face the guardians. The weeping ones, spirits of children drowned unjustly in past generations. Amara wept as they swirled around her, whispering forgotten songs, asking why they were never mourned. With her song and her sorrow, she calmed them. They let her pass. At the tree's roots, she found the eye small,
green, and pulsing like a heartbeat. Suddenly, the river roared behind her.
Mbali had sensed it. Mbali awakens. That night, the whirlpool opened.
A dark mist rose from it,
shaping into a woman with hair like serpents and eyes like obsidian shards. Mbali had returned. She hovered above the river, laughing. So the river chose a child to replace me, she hissed. Amara stepped forward, holding the eye of the river. I am not your replacement, she said.
I am your end. The duel had dawn.
The sky turned gray as storm clouds gathered over the village.
Thunder cracked.
Amara and Mbali stood on opposite ends of the sacred river stone, surrounded by spirits, some watching in silence, others praying in fear. Mbali struck first, summoning waves of black water to drown the fields. Amara countered with a chant Ngolo had taught her,
splitting the water like a blade. Lightning lit the sky. Crocodiles circled the banks.
Villagers screamed and hid, but one small child, a girl no older than Amara once was,
stood by the river, whispering,
"Don't let her win."
Amara heard it.
That voice was her own. From years ago. She rose, her hands glowing with the power of the eye.
You were born of bitterness,
she told Mbali, but I was born of betrayal, and turned it into strength. With a cry that echoed across the valley,
she thrust the eye into the river.
The sealing of Mbali. The river rose, swallowing Mbali in a vortex of light and thunder. She screamed not in pain, but in fury as her form dissolved into mist.
The whirlpool closed.
The water calmed.
The sun broke through the clouds.
And Amara collapsed.
Cliffhanger ending of part 3. Silence before the truce.
Amara woke 3 days later in the healing hut, her head in the lap of Baba Kofi. You saved us, he whispered, his voice shaking. But Amara turned her eyes toward the jungle. There is one truth left buried, she said. For in her final vision, just before collapsing, she had seen a face. Not Mbali's.
Zina's. Holding something. A dark amulet.
A smirk. A whisper, you were never supposed to return. To be continued in part 4.
The sister who led to the spirit.
Did Zina make a secret pact? Why did Mbali's spirit only awaken when Amara returned? And what terrible truth is buried in their bloodline?
Zina's smile.
The village held a feast to honor Amara.
Children danced. Drums sang.
But Zina simply smiled. Not wide. Not joyous. But tight-lipped, as if she would just won a game only she understood.
When Amara made her eyes,
a shiver ran down her spine. That smirk. That same smirk from the vision before she collapsed. Zina approached and whispered into Amara's ear.
The river may love you.
Sister. But blood remembers lies.
Burier-Trut resurface.
That night, Amara followed the dream again. This time, the river was red.
A woman screamed. Two babies criaient.
And someone Amara was not sure who whispered, "Only one must live, or both shall die." She awoke trembling. At dawn, she went to the Cave of Echoes, a forbidden shrine where only high priestesses entered. Inside, she laid a lock of her hair on the altar and asked the river spirits, "What is Xena hiding?" Mist curled into a story. The Hidden Pact. Years ago, when Amara disappeared into the river, Xena had cried, but not for long. She had gone to the black whirlpool alone and pleaded for power. "I want what is mine," she had said.
Make me the chosen one.
And the spirit that answered was not the river's spirit. It was Mbali still bound, but whispering from the deep. Mbali had offered Xena strength.
Beauty, love from the villager.
If she would promise one thing.
When the other girl returns.
You must lead her back to me. Xena had agreed. Then, slowly, Mbali channeled her essence into an amulet, which Xena wore hidden in her necklace ever since.
The villager adorait Xena. Not by FATE.
But by spell.
Amara confront Xena. Amara stood at the riverside.
The wind pulling at her robe. Xena came, acting concerned.
Sister, you look pale. Are the spirit troubling you again?
Amara raised her hand. The spirits showed me what you did. Xena's face did not flinch. Then you know, she replied. I did it for us.
You were gone. Everyone pitied me.
I was alone.
Amara's voice shook with anger.
You made a pact with the thing that drowned me. Xena snapped. I made a pact to survive, while you played with spirits. I lived in the shadow of your name. Their voices echoed across the river. Villagers began to gather.
The trial of two sisters.
The elders demanded a spiritual trial, a sacred duel not of weapons, but of truth. Each sister must place her soul before the river. If von Liet, the river would drown her. They stood barefoot in the shallows,
Holding the river stone.
First, Amara spoke, I was taken by the spirits. I returned with no hatred, only love, the water shimmered, and wrapped gently around her feet. Then Xena, I never meant harm. I wanted only to protect the village. The water hissed.
A snake rose.
Bit her ankle. Xena screamed and collapsed. The villagers gasped. The river had judged Xena's fall, and a mother's secret. Xena was brought to the healer's hut, her body burning with venom, her mind unraveling. In her fever,
She muttered secret.
she was not supposed to be born. Mother said one child would bring death.
Amara froze.
She ran to the old midwife, Mama Jand, who had delivered her and Xena. Trembling, the old woman spoke. There was a prophecy.
Two girls born under the blood moon.
One with the river's gift. The other with the hunger of the drowned. Your mother begged us to choose only one to raise. But she raised us both.
Amara whispered. Mama Jand shook her head.
She raised Xena.
You were left to die in the river.
Amara fell to her knees.
Xena's rage.
Her pact. Everything. Rooted in a betrayal at birth. But as the sky darkened and the river began to churn once more, Mama Jand gasped.
The blood moon. It returns tonight.
Amara looked up. The same red moon from 20 years ago now rose over the jungle.
The villager screamed. Crops caught fire. And from the whirlpool, a voice echoed loud and ever.
One child lived. But both belonged to me. Mbali was not gone. She had merely moved.
From the river.
Into one of them. To be continued in the final part 5.
The river's final choice.
Is Mbali truly defeated? Is Xena possessed, or was it Amara all along? When the blood moon reaches its peak, the river must choose, and only one sister will remain.
The moon turned red. That night,
the village did not sleep. Everyone gathered by the river, eyes glued to the sky. The blood moon had risen fully. The drums were silent. The birds stopped singing. And in the air, a coldness none could explain. Amara stood at the water's edge, her heart pounding. Zina lay nearby, pale, feverish, and mumbling in a voice that was no longer hers. She comes. She comes. To finish what was started. Suddenly, the river began to boil. From the whirlpool rose Mbali. No longer just mist. She had a form now tall, robed in water and darkness, with eyes that glowed like embers. She looked at Amara, and smiled.
Mbali estrus.
Mbali's voice boomed. You were meant to die, child. One soul to seal me. One to carry me. She turned to the villagers. Your ancestors drowned me unjustly. They feared my power. So I cursed their bloodline. And now, I rise again. The villagers fell to their knees.
Lightning cracked the sky.
Amara stepped forward. Why me?
Mbali loged.
Because your soul is split. Half light, half mine.
You were born under my moon.
But they tossed you to the river. And I raised you, Amara staggered back. No. I chose love, I chose the spirits of light. But Mbali whispered. And yet, you understand me. Because deep down, Amara did feel it rage. Betrayal.
À un jet fort justice.
Mbali reached out a hand. Join me.
And rule the waters.
You are more me than them.
Zina awakens.
Just then, Zina screamed. Her eyes snapped open black as night.
Mbali loged again.
Too late. Little priestess. She already let me in. Zina stood, possessed. She lifted her hand, and the river rose behind her in a towering wave.
Villageran. Amara stood still.
The spirits inside her stirred. Not just river spirits. But every voice she would ever heard in the dreams, the unborn child. The crying women, even the animals that spoke in symbols. They called now. And said one thing. Choose, the final choice. Amara closed her eyes. She saw her life the night she drowned. The years in silence.
The return, the betrayal.
And now, a sister who hated her. A spirit who craved her. A village on the brink. She had two paths. Join Mbali. Let her soul merge with the spirit. Save herself. Destroy the village.
Sacrifice herself, ban Mbali forever.
End the curse. And die. But then, a third path formed. Her own. The ritual of the forgotten one.
Amara stepped into the river. She slid her palm, letting blood drip into the water.
Then, she spoke in the ancient tongue of the river. I was never only light. I was never only dark. I am the child of both. I do not reject one.
I do not serve the other.
I choose balance. The river shook. Mbali screamed. Zina fell to her knees. The whirlpool turned gold. A massive surge of light and shadow rose from the water, spiraling into the sky. Amara glowed her eyes. Her hair, her soul. She stepped toward Mbali. And embraced her.
I forgive you, she whispered.
Mbali howled. Then shattered into droplets of mist and light. Absorbed back into Amara. The end of the curse. Zina collapsed. The blackness in her eyes faded. She opened them to see Amara kneeling beside her, holding her hand.
I tuktiated you.
Zina whispered. I thought I was alone. Amara replied. They wept together.
The blood moon faded. The river calmed.
And dawn broke. Epilogue, a new river. Months passed. The village rebuilt. Children played by the water again. Zina, humble and quiet, now tended the river shrine not as priestess, but as a guardian of truth. Amara. She did not stay. She walked away one morning at sunrise, barefoot, into the jungle. Some say she became a river herself. Others say she visits lost souls in their dreams. But in every home near the river now, a new prayer is whispered. Let us raise all children, even the forgotten.
For no spirit is born evil. Only un loved, and beneath the river. Deep and silent. Mbali rest.
No longer vengeful. At peace. Because someone, finally, embraced all of her.